Welcome to Metabolic, and today we are going to learn about vitamin D, which is also known as the sunshine vitamin. So, the vitamin D is fat soluble vitamin which is sterile in structure, that is, it is derived from cholesterol and it functions like the hormone. The sources are fish liver oil, egg yolk, and agristerol, which is derived from green leafy vegetables, and the RDA, which is recommended dietary allowance for adult, is 600 IU, and for adult more than 70 years is 800 IU, that is international unit. So the vitamin D have provitamins which are agristerol and 7-dehydrocholesterol. These two are the provitamin forms of vitamin D, and upon UV exposure, agristerol and 7-dehydrocholesterol is respectively converted to agrocalciferol and cholecalciferol, that is vitamin D2 and vitamin D3. So the vitamin D that we get from the diet and from the sunshine, these two forms of vitamins are inactive form of vitamin. Now moving on to activation of vitamin D. So initially, 7-dehydrocholesterol that is present on the epidermis layer of the skin. Upon UV exposure, this 7-dehydrocholesterol is converted to cholecalciferol, which is vitamin D3. And the reaction involved is UV dependent, non-enzymatic, and photolysis reaction. And this cholecalciferol is directly transferred to the blood. So from blood, the cholecalciferol needs to be transported to the liver, and as we have already learned, fat-soluble vitamin require carrier protein in order to be transported. Hence, cholecalciferol is transported with the help of a specific carrier protein, that is vitamin D binding protein or VBP protein, towards the liver. So now with the help of vitamin D binding protein, the cholecalciferol is transferred towards the liver, and in liver the cholecalciferol is acted upon by 25 hydroxylase, which adds hydrogen to the 25th carbon, giving rise to 25 hydroxy cholecalciferol in the presence of molecular oxygen, magnesium, and NADPH. So now this 25 hydroxy cholecalciferol, it is also known as calcifediol. So this 25 hydroxy cholecalciferol enters back to the circulation as a major vitamin D found in the plasma, and it is carried by vitamin D binding protein towards the kidney. This 25 hydroxy cholecalciferol is a weak agonist, hence it is hydroxylated at first carbon to obtain biologically active form, that is 125 hydroxy cholecalciferol or calcitriol, by the enzyme 1-alpha hydroxylase in the presence of magnesium, NADPH2, and molecular oxygen. And the reaction takes place at proximal convoluting tubules of the kidney. So this is the active form of vitamin D, and the major function of calcitriol is to increase the serum calcium level and to increase the serum phosphate level. Finally, this increment in calcium and phosphate level is brought about by increase in absorption from GI tract, increase in absorption from the kidney, and increase of osteoclast activity. Hence, the level of calcium and phosphate rises. But what happens if the calcium and phosphate level lowers in the blood? So basically, phosphate directly stimulate production of 1-alpha hydroxylase, that is direct stimulation, whereas calcium stimulate parathyroid hormone, which in turn stimulate 1-alpha hydroxylase, that is indirect stimulation. Now this 1-alpha hydroxylase stimulate calcitriol, and again the level of calcium and phosphate is balanced in the blood. Now moving on to the deficiency manifestation, it is brought about by decreased UV exposure, decreased dietary intake or supplement, and decrease in fat absorption. As we know, vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. This condition gives rise to two straightway manifestation, that is rickets and osteomalacia, which is present in children and adult respectively. So when vitamin D level is lower, there is lower level of calcium in the blood that stimulate parathyroid hormone to increase, as we have already studied previously, and this parathyroid hormone in turn stimulate 1-alpha hydroxylase, which will finally help recover the vitamin D. But we have the deficiency manifestation, which are very crucial, and this deficiency manifestation doesn't let the production of vitamin D, hence resulting in only the higher level of parathyroid hormone in the blood. And as a result of higher parathyroid hormone, the bone becomes brittle and prone to breakage. Again, we have lower level of calcium that will also catalyze the process of bone breakage, that is deficiency manifestation, that results in rickets and osteomalacia. Finally, moving on to the hypervitaminosis, which is possible in case of fat soluble vitamin as they have storage. Hypervitaminosis in vitamin D is always brought about by the diet and never by the UV exposure. You cannot get hypervitaminosis in case of vitamin D by UV exposure. These are manifested by increase in thirst, constipation, abdominal cramp, nephrolithiasis, that is, we have increase in calcium and phosphate level due to vitamin D, which get deposited in the kidney, resulting in the kidney stones, metastatic calcification, that is, increased level of calcium which get deposited in the tissues, and finally the renal failure. So these are the hypervitaminosis manifestation of vitamin D. That was all about the vitamin D. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.